gotten to know me over the last 9 months, you know going first is not my cup of tea, but after this I have to leave right away because it's my daughter's birthday, so I'm going to Sioux Falls to surprise her. So anyways, my name is Leah Stadheim. I work at the Shell Rock River Watershed District. I was voluntold to attend leadership this year by my boss, Andy Henschel, and a coworker, Courtney Phillips. They both attended last year and got a lot out of it and recommended that I attend too. On one of our first classes at leadership, we took the Don Clifton Strength Finder assessment, and my top 5 strengths were discipline, consistency, I don't know where to put this, relator, harmony, and responsibility. So discipline means that I like my world to be predictable, ordered, and planned, and I like routines. So when I was asked to attend leadership, it kind of messed with my routine, which made me nervous, and especially because our watershed board meetings are at the same time as our Tuesday leadership, so it was just an added layer of finding someone to take my role during those meetings. Next is consistency, which means I like things fair and balanced. So coming in, I didn't know if this was going to be fair or if I was coming into a group of people that already all knew each other or whatnot, so just a little nerve-wracking. The third is relator, which means I gravitate towards people I already know. So again, coming to a class of 20-some people that you don't know is nerve-wracking. Fourth is harmony, which is I look for areas of agreement and common ground. So coming in, I just tried to not rock the boat, just fit in, but and I also used harmony when we did our group projects to get everyone to work together and mesh well. The last one is responsibility. I like to take ownership of anything I commit to, and I'm emotionally bound to follow it through to completion. So once I, decided to attend, I knew I was going to give it my all and get something from it, and I'm thankful for the opportunity. Every month we attended different places around town, and my favorite experiences was when we attended the Public Safety and Law Enforcement Day. I really enjoyed going to Judge Christy Horman's courtroom and listening to actual hearings and asking questions. And I was very fortunate to be where I was sitting and not where they were sitting. My least favorite day was attending food product tours. I'm not going to name names, but as somebody with a weak stomach, I didn't care for that tour, but I appreciate the men and women who do that job so I can eat quality food. And I like seeing the diversity represented and hearing about how much fun they have in their lunchroom. So that day turned out well. Let's see. This program has changed the way I see my community, and that I actually see it now. I recognize people. I see them as friends, and I'm not intimidated to say hi. So for instance, I saw Leigh at Walmart. I waved to Cody at Wedgwood. I saw Brandy at Crossroads. You didn't see me, but I saw Megan at the high school commencement. I saw Amanda at Riverland. So leadership is happening everywhere, and I'm happy to know more faces and feel more connected to this group. Not trying to gain any brownie points here, but leaders who inspire me are Belinda and Val. I wish Belinda was here, but I just feel like any room she enters, she makes everyone feel welcomed. She's like a mom who carries her little wagon of goodies. She's very thoughtful. I feel like she shopped local. She had healthy options like carrots and hummus, and she always had ice for our drinks. And I feel like that role is sometimes underappreciated, so just wanted to give her a shout out. And then Val, I feel like she is very knowledgeable, approachable, available, and willing to share anything she has, including time, ideas, and encouragement. And as a chamber ambassador, I feel like you've really turned the chamber around and
Thank you.
it's such a positive place to be now. Not that it wasn't, but like, it's a great change. So yeah, I just feel like I'm going to take everything I learned here and bring it out into the community. I love the connections and the friends I've made, so congratulations to all of you, and it's been great getting to know you.
Yay.
Leadership 2026, the way it went, you see, it's not real good PowerPoint skills. I learned to work within my strengths, but I didn't feel it was right to have someone else do my PowerPoint for me. All right, so what does leadership mean to me today? It means to empower and support individuals' growth. So, I've always kind of believed in that, in investing in your people, but this class just kind of reinforces that. I think all of us have been chosen or voluntold or whatever it is by our organizations because they see something in each one of us. So I think that's part of leadership, is they recognize something that you may not at this time. Maybe you're like, I'm not ready for that, but it's a process. Another thing that's up to all of us to do is to inspire other people. We have visions, we have things that we believe in, and we need to inspire people. So that's something that I feel like that's what leadership means to me today, to influence others. When we all have gotten to know each other, we had probably preconceived ideas day one of each other that have changed because we've kind of learned a little bit about each other, so we can now influence as a group, I guess I would say. And to guide and to work collaboratively towards that common goal. That's kind of what leadership means to me today. So, what have I learned about myself through this experience? To me, it's the importance of institutional knowledge. Each one of us, not necessarily has everyone been with their company forever or been with their organization forever, but there's knowledge that they've gained from other people that they've worked with. And I think in today's society, we're all replaceable in a snap, it kind of seems like, in a lot of organizations. So if we can learn that institutional knowledge from other people we've worked with, and it is important that we stay in our community, even if we take on different roles, just for that knowledge within our community. The importance of having a seat at the table is something I believe in. I was told long ago that if you don't have a seat at the table, you're on the menu. And what that means is, to me, is if you don't have a voice in that group, people are going to be talking about you, and you don't get to explain yourself. So I feel like that's something I've really learned in this group, is there's preconceived ideas that we had about each business and organization that, after visiting, you find out there's a little more to it. So the importance of working within my strengths when possible. I definitely have learned that about myself. There are strengths I have, and then call them weaknesses, call them not as, the strengths that are down here. So.
Can I call out one of your strengths on the
Sure.
Pilates machine?
Oh,
That was awesome.
although not graceful.
No, but it was awesome.
Yes. So, leaders that inspire me, I did get a picture of this guy. This guy's name is Alan Brunacini. He, in the fire service, he's like the godfather. He was with Phoenix Fire Department. When he started, the guys that he worked with bitched about having to use a gas engine fire truck because the horses never broke down. So this guy's been around a long time. He's passed away now. I got to meet him a few years ago, and he talks very, not eloquently at all, but to the point. What he always told people is prevent harm, survive, and be nice. I think we could do that in all of our lines of work. Even though it doesn't sound real eloquent, it really makes a lot of sense. Another one that inspired me was Captain Mark Von Eppen. And his quote was always, excellence is my responsibility. So we tend to complain about how others aren't doing what they need to do. I'm guilty of it too. But really, if you want to have excellence, it starts with you. He also had a quote, treat people right. And one thing I like specific to my line of work is the fire service has institutional memory. We learn by telling and retelling stories, and we learn something new as a group as we change through that. So that one I didn't have memorized. And then the last leader that inspires me was Colonel Charlie Beckworth. He was pretty much Delta Force guy. He's wrote a few books that are real interesting to me. And his thing is make a simple plan, inform everybody, don't change it, and kick it in the ass. I think so many times when we're a part of a plan, it's constantly changing. Now, I'm not saying don't take input from people, but sometimes people get confused as which direction are we going. Make sure you're still going in the same direction, even if you need to modify the tactics a little bit. And another one of his quotes is, if you're not making mistakes, then you're not making any decisions. It is embarrassing to make mistakes, especially in a professional world, but we're human and we're trying. So keep trying. How has this program changed the way I see the community? I would say it's just kind of changed how I realize that there's an excitement, building in Albert Lea in many different areas. And I see them in the next couple of years all coming together with stuff with our seniors, stuff for our little kids, everywhere in between. We always seem to fixate on the Facebook warriors that everything sucks, but there is a lot of good going on, and I believe people are talking about Albert Lea. So, what opportunities do I see to serve and strengthen Albert Lea in the future? Continued connections. I think we'll probably not stay in contact daily, but if any of us has any questions, we're going to be all right to call each other, email, and just do that work. Future partnerships. I think when we're all thinking about how can we do this or that, we're going to try and bring in some partners, or I'm going to ask one of you, hey, I know you're not in my world, but what do you think of this? Is this crazy? And then you get that outside perspective. And that's important. I used to have a friend of mine at the library, Teresa Schmidt was her name. I would always ask her different things before I did them, and she knew nothing about the fire service. And it was a wonderful friend to be able to ask questions to. Also have new ideas. This group has new ideas, and there's a lot of old ideas, and they say the good old boys club or whatever they call it. I'm excited about all the new ideas that you all have. What leadership goals will I carry forward in my career? I'm going to work within my strengths. My strengths were command, responsibility, self-assurance. I kept saying realtor. It is not realtor. Avi clarified that for me. It's relator. So I'm going to try and work within those, but then I also know because of, with my profession and my strengths being in that, sometimes I can be a little intense. So I need to have someone that I trust that can say, dial it back a little bit, buddy. So I need to surround myself with people that have different strengths. What is next? How will I apply the lessons and connections that I have gained? I think I already kind of addressed that. We're going to all work together on different things. We all have a common goal to make Albert Lea better, to make Freeborn County better, to help our businesses and our organizations. So that was all I have. Thank you.
First off, I want to say good morning to everybody. My name is Josh Heilman. I work for the city of Albert Lea at the Arena and Aquatic Center. As far as public speaking goes, we'll see how this goes. So I will have to say, I really enjoyed the opportunity of being part of this leadership class. It's really been an eye-opener for me, and like I said, I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed getting to know all of you involved. It has meant a lot to me building friendships through this process. And today leadership means having ears to listen, the humility to learn, and the courage to navigate uncertainty alongside whatever team you belong to. I think we've grown to be a pretty good team, and everyone appreciates each other. I can sense that, definitely. I've been able to take many tools that we were given through this experience and apply them to my job as an Arena Aquatic Center foreman. I have been part of a project over the past 2 years upgrading the Arena Aquatic Center and the Marion Ross Theater, which has been a good experience for me, and just working with different companies, different groups, with my staff, learning a lot about a lot of different aspects. I used to rely heavily on clear roadmaps and predictable checklists. This program has given me belief in myself and how to handle certain situations. I have learned that I am far more resilient in the chaos than I've ever given myself credit for. I discovered that I can pivot, handle sudden friction, and still maintain calm, clear direction for those around me. I have to give a lot of credit to Bob Ferlin. Some of you may know Bob. He was a recreation manager for 28 years for the city of Albert Lea. Bob has now transitioned to a new chapter as an executive director of the Freeborn County Historical Center. Bob really means a lot to me. He was the one that first gave me my opportunity to work with the city of Albert Lea, and I never looked back. I've really enjoyed it. I've always strived to be better every day because of him. Watching Bob lead taught me that management is about budgets, facilities, schedules, but leadership is about people. He was great with people. Whether managing the Albert Lea City Arena or Aquatic Center, Bob is always modeled as an easygoing, helpful, deeply giving nature. He showed me that when a leader focuses on building relationships and creating spaces where the community can connect, the impact outlasts a single position. Bob inspired me to realize that my ultimate goal as a leader is to leave my community stronger and more connected than I found it. With that said, I thank Bob for that. He's also the one that recommended me going to this leadership class. So, this leadership journey has really rewritten my understanding of the community impact, and now I understand that real community transformation happens in everyday moments. It happens when we choose collaboration over isolation, and it is important that we all work together between local organizations to make the community a better place to live and work. I see a lot of, everyone here is thinking the same thing I am, and it's good to work together. Inspired by leaders like Bob and all of you, I no longer see the community challenges as someone else's problem to solve. This problem has handed me a mirror to see my own capability and the toolkit to take action. I'm leaving our leadership class not just as a graduate, but as an active builder committed to strengthening places we call home. First, in my career, my goal is to lead with empathy and focus on we-being. I commit to building psychological safety within my teams, ensuring that every voice is heard. Mistakes are treated as learning moments, and our collective energy is protected. Second, in my community work, I want to carry forward the legacy of service modeled by mentors like Bob Ferlin. I will focus on cultivating and preventing spaces where a community can gather, connect, grow, particularly ensuring our youth and next generation leaders have the support they need to strive. And finally, in my personal life, I will practice intentional presence. In a fast-paced world, I want to slow down and in human moments, showing up fully for my family, friends, and neighbors with open mind and listening ear. Leadership is a lifetime practice, and these are guidelines and guideposts I am choosing for my road ahead. So, thank you.
Thank you for your patience while I got everything pulled up and all that stuff. So. All right, so what does leadership mean to me? So leadership means collaboration, being collaborative, working together, and taking the ideas of others and figuring out what is going to work best for what it is that you're working on. Being curious. One of the things I try really hard to do, and especially after being a part of this group, is to go into new situations and new places and be curious about things instead of being judgmental or coming in with preconceived notions, but to really try and be open to learning what it is that we're jumping into. To be supportive. One of the things that I'm really proud of myself and something that I think I do really well is to support the people around me. And I think that that's a really good leader, someone who can support and uplift other people. To be innovative, not being afraid to try new things, to be willing to take the ideas of those around you and to just try something. You might fail, it may not work out, but that doesn't mean that what you are trying to do is a failure. It just means that you need to try and maybe reconfigure some things or try something different. And to be flexible, and that goes into the innovation. To be willing to kind of readjust when you need to not be so rigid that you can't pull in other ideas, but to still have that main focus. What have I learned about myself through this class? So I've learned that I'm braver than I thought. Coming into Albert Lea, I am a new person here. I just moved here a year ago. So starting a new job, moving to a new place, being asked to be a part of this group are all things that were really scary to me, actually. And things that were kind of like, when Kim asked if I wanted to do this, it was like, be with a bunch of people that I have no idea who they are and like hang out and like do things together is like, it's kind of a lot. But I've had so much fun being a part of this group and learning new things and being able to try something. And so I have that, I'm braver than I thought I was. So, and that being an outsider, I bring something to the table. So I didn't grow up here, I grew up down south. By down south, I mean Iowa. But that, just because I'm not originally from here doesn't mean that I can't bring something to the table. Doesn't mean that the ideas that I have don't count or don't mean anything, but that I can add something to the conversation. And that caring about the community comes from learning more about the bits and pieces to help understand the whole. So coming into Albert Lea, I went against what I said I tried to do. I kind of had some preconceived notions of what Albert Lea was going to be like. It's definitely a smaller town than what I came from, and I grew up in a small town, so I kind of thought I knew what to expect. But being a part of this class and learning different things each month and kind of how this community works, and all of the pieces that go together really help give a better understanding and a better view, for me anyway, of how it is that Albert Lea is Albert Lea. So, who are leaders that inspire me? And I promise I'm not doing this for my review is coming up in a couple of weeks. So the first person is Kim, my boss. The way Kim leads at Riverland is just really inspiring to me. She is someone who is all about teamwork. All of her conversations are we statements. They're never I. It's never something that she did by herself. It's stuff that she does with her team. She's also really great at leading her faculty and the rest of her team. If someone makes a mistake, it's never something that is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that. But it's a learning opportunity and a time to kind of figure out, okay, what led us to this and how can we kind of readjust that so that way it doesn't happen again. And even if she makes a mistake herself, she owns up to it. And then we move on because it's not something that we have to dwell on. But Kim has been absolutely great and a really amazing boss to work for and a great mentor. Bart, I also put you on this slide because being a part of this group, I've been able to see how you are as a leader in this community, how people react when you walk into a room. It's not something that you instill fear in people or that you're really commanding, but you move into situations with curiosity, with levity, and you know stuff. But you're not someone who is going to come into a situation and be like, well, I know better than you, so you really need to listen to me. But you listen to other people around you. And so being able to see that while we go to all of these places, you know everybody. And I know that's part of your job, but being able to see how people interact with you was really inspiring to me. And then because you need to have 3, it's always better to have a triplet, the Pope, because, you know, why not have a Pope? But actually this Pope is really great, and I think being someone who is able to speak up for those who can't speak up for themselves, who stands for dignity and human decency, is something that's really great. So how has this program changed the way I see the community? Like I said, being new here, I kind of had some preconceived notions, but I've learned very much so that Albert Lea is full of people who care very deeply about it. People who are willing to try new things, to strive for inclusivity and to be a welcoming environment. People who want others to know all of the reasons why they love Albert Lea so much. So being a part of this, being a part of the wellness, the worksite wellness team, have given me the opportunity to see that the people that live here really love living here, and really love the things that are coming. You know, a couple of you have mentioned that it seems like there's some energy and some excitement about things that are coming down the pike, and I think that the people here are just really excited to talk about it. So what opportunities do I see to serve? Continuing to volunteer on the Worksite Wellness Committee, possibly volunteering with some other chamber events, but really just trying to find different ways that I can be more active in the community, and finding places where people want me to be a part of it, I guess. You know, like I mentioned, I'm an outsider, and so to see if there are places that are interested in maybe having a different point of view, seeing if I can find those places that I might fit into. And then what goals will I carry forward throughout all of this? To be quick to listen and slow to respond. I think it's really important when you're going into situations to be able to listen to those around you, and not be the first one to jump in with your opinion, but to hear other people out first. To lift up the voices of those around me. If ever I'm in a position where I can be that person who helps lift and bring other people's up with me, I definitely want to do that. And to not be afraid to share my ideas. Like I said, just because I didn't grow up here doesn't mean that what I think or some ideas that I might have don't count for anything, so just not be afraid to bring those up. And thank you so much for listening.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Brandy. I'm with the Albert Lea Family Y. So as I reflected on this experience, the one lesson that stood out to me through everything that we learned and all of the places that we went was connection is key. We talk about strengthening communities, supporting families, developing leaders, and creating opportunities, but at the heart of that, it's people connecting with people, us getting to know each other. Programs matter, buildings matter, resources matter, but none of it matters if we can't create lasting change. And the relationships that we build are the way that we do that. And one of the most valuable things I've learned in this program is that community doesn't just happen, it's an intentionally built by the people that actually get involved and do things. When we become involved, we begin to see our community differently. We learn who is working behind the scenes to make things better. We discover businesses that invest in their employees and support local initiatives. We learn where families can turn when they need help. We discover organizations that are looking for volunteers and people who are willing to give of their time to make a difference. More importantly, we begin to understand that there are far more people doing good work than we often realize. Without opportunities like this, many of these connections would never happen. And that's a problem because one of the greatest challenges facing communities today isn't a lack of resources, it's a lack of connection. Loneliness has become an epidemic. People are surrounded by others, yet they feel isolated. People want to help but don't know where to start. They want to volunteer but they don't know who to call. They want to become involved but they don't know what opportunities exist. They want to feel connected but they don't know how to take that first step. As a result, many people remain on the sidelines, not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to engage. That's why programs like this are so important. They create bridges. They connect people to organizations, they connect volunteers to opportunities, they connect leaders to future leaders, and they connect all of us to a greater understanding of the community that we serve. I think sometimes we underestimate the simple power of knowing what's going on around us. When people know opportunities, they participate. When relationships are built, trust grows. And when trust grows, communities grow stronger. Strong communities are not built by a handful of organizations that work independently. They're built when businesses, nonprofits, schools, local government, volunteers, and community members work together towards a common goal. Programs like this help build those connections. They help us identify who we can partner with, who we can learn from, who we can support, and who might support us. That knowledge doesn't just benefit us professionally, it benefits our entire community. Because every new connection creates potential for new solutions, new partnerships, and new opportunities. And as somebody who works at the Y, this lesson resonates with me deeply. People often come to the Y for one specific reason. There's a fitness class, there's a swim lesson, there's a youth sport, childcare, summer camp, but a lot of them stay because they find something that they didn't even realize that they needed. They find connection. A coach becomes someone to a child. A senior finds a friend that notices when they're not there. A parent finds support from another mom who's going through the same thing that they're going through. A volunteer might find purpose. A teenager might find belonging. Those connections become more meaningful than the original reason that they walked through the door. People may show up for a meeting, a program, a class, or an event, but what keeps them engaged is the fact that they feel belonging. Belonging is powerful. When people feel like they belong, they participate more. They volunteer more, they support local initiatives more, they become advocates for their community, and ultimately they help create the kind of community that they want to live in. That's why I believe we must not only be involved, but we must be vocal. Not loud, not argumentative, but vocal for the good to our communities. It's easy to focus on our problems. Every community has them. But communities grow stronger when people are willing to share opportunities, celebrate successes, and support one another, advocating for a positive change. Being vocal means helping people understand what resources are available. It means connecting people to organizations that can help them. It means encouraging volunteerism, inviting other people to get involved, being a champion for things that bring people together. Perhaps the best part of this experience is understanding that graduation isn't the end. In many ways, it's just the beginning. The relationships we built here don't disappear when this program concludes. The connections that we've made will continue. The information we learned can continue to be shared, and the partnerships we developed can continue to grow. We leave this program with a stronger understanding of our community, but also with the responsibility to keep continuing to build on what we've learned. To stay connected, to stay involved, to continue showing up, to continue sharing information, to continue supporting each other, and to continue helping other people find their place in our community. It's measured by the connections between the people who call it home. If there's one thing I hope we all take away from this experience, it's that connection is key. When people know each other, they help each other. When people help each other, communities become stronger. And when communities become stronger, everyone benefits. For me, the game of life at the end was amazing. Like seeing all of the opportunities that we have in our community for people really opened my eyes. And like Leah talked, just seeing people throughout the community that were in this program that I had no idea who they were when we first started. I've been able to reach out to people in this room over the last 6 to 9 months and say, hey, we have this going on. Is this something that you can help me with? And they've come through, or they've been able to connect me to someone else. And so that piece of just remembering that as leaders in our community, our goal should be to continue for each of us to continue to reach out, make connections, and connect other people to other people. That's what I got.
My name is Ashley. I work at Arcadian Bank as a deposit operations specialist, consumer lender, and an IT and audit specialist. When it came time to kind of put together everything I learned throughout the program, I thought what better way to do that than to relate it to my personal and professional life. And so the first picture I put on here is just a picture of Fountain Lake and the water tower. I was born here, I grew up here, I work here. I'm proud to be from Albert Lea, and I'm proud to be a part of this community. And I'm also proud to be a part of an organization that prioritizes community and instills that in everyone that works there. Another thing that I thought was really cool that we did in this program was the Strengths Finder. This was something I did in my onboarding at the bank, so it was cool to see how my strengths had maybe stayed the same and changed from when I took it then to when we took it together now. And so I'll scroll a little. But my first strength is relator, and so I learn best through conversations and building trust. I'm most engaged when I can connect what I'm learning to people in my relationships. Secondly, achiever. I like turning learning into action. I leave meetings and conversations with wanting a next step and not just notes. With my strategic strength, I'm always trying to connect the dots and find patterns, like how business needs, workforce, and community resources can link together. With discipline, I value structure. It helps me take a lot of information and organize it into something usable. And with the learner strength, I genuinely enjoy the process, and the more I'm exposed to, the more I want to understand what's behind something or understand more about it. And so here, I wrote connection matters. Here you'll see a picture of my team at work. We collaborate, we lift each other up, we support each other, we check in, we grow together, learning how all of the businesses in our community can work together, such as the county commissioners, ALETA, police, fire, etc. It reminds me that we're all a part of a team in one way or another, whether it's you and one other person or you and your whole organization. Connection matters when you're a part of that team, and the more you can connect and build relationships with those around you, the better off your team will be. The last picture on this page is a picture of little me. We did a trend at the bank a few months back, quote unquote, this is who you're asking to. So mine said, this is who you're asking to open your business account. As a funny trend of how we've all grown up, but inside we're still young. And it's important no matter your age or your stage of life to take care of yourself and prioritize your health. And as we all know, we learn that through Blue Zones and Healthy Living Day. And I'm proud to work for a Blue Zone certified organization. It's important that we not only take care of yourself, but also your community. I also thought of our time at the Shell Rock River Watershed District. Let's see if I can get to page 2. So the first picture you'll see on this page here is a picture actually of my boyfriend's family farm. My first experience with agriculture was planting season last year, and so it's really cool to see not only the people that I work with every day who are ag lenders, ag analysts, the people in my personal life that are so involved in agriculture, but it was also really cool to learn about all the people in our community that are involved in agriculture one way or the other, whether it's businesses or people on an individual level. It was really just cool to see how everyone can come together and kind of keep the world moving. And so one thing I can take away from our time together is the ongoing growth happening in our communities. Like everyone has kind of reiterated, sometimes all you see is the negative, or you see the negative comments, and it's really cool to learn about how many different initiatives and plans are taking place and what will continue to grow in the future. And so you can see that happens on individual levels, like we saw at the Heartwave Studio, or on industrial levels, like we saw at Blue Ridge, Cargill, Select Foods, and all those places. And so my last picture on here is a small example of businesses coming together. Since I started at the bank, we've partnered with Carpenter Coffee every summer to have them come a few times during the summer, not only for our employees to stay caffeinated, but also it brings them into a new location, into a new space. It brings new people into the bank, into our lobby, seeing our space. And so even small things like that can make a difference in supporting each other and working together. And I think that's something we'll all take away from this program, is the connections and the people you can reach out to if you ever need anything. And so exactly like Brandy said, the most important thing I learned in this program was that connection's important. We spent 10 months together, we visited 25 plus places, and we made over 100 connections between the business owners, the community members, our classmates. Connection matters. That's all.
Hi, my name is Nikki Olson. I'm with Freeborn Mauer Electric Cooperative. I'm just gonna kind of briefly talk about my experience. One thing that impressed me was Education Day by the students that could earn certifications and programs. Like they can actually get a certification in class in high school while they're still like not graduated yet. I enjoyed that. And then just like the programs that the schools offer that supports the families with meals and basic needs. During the government day, I attended a county board meeting, which was very interesting. Toured the public works building, I didn't even know that existed. And then I learned that paving Sunset Road would cost about $6 million. I feel us hockey parents could definitely make that happen.
Yeah.
In public safety, I toured the jail, was bummed to find out it had jail doors instead of bars like we see on TV. Observed a typical inmate's day and sat in on a first appearance hearing. Also learned about new businesses like Travco, didn't know they existed. That was pretty cool. Experienced agriculture firsthand by going inside a silo, and really enjoyed Arcadian Bank's tour. It's huge during the healthy living portion. Someone who inspires me would be Megan Jordahl. She is my coworker. She has pushed me into the role I'm in today. She always encourages me to build my confidence. I appreciate her and her guidance. I would have never applied for the billing specialist job if it wasn't for her. Another one that inspires me is my boss, Amanda. Again, I'm not favors, but just impresses me with all her knowledge about every aspect of our jobs. Inspires me to be a better person and a better version of myself. I want to thank both of them for all their patience and guidance with me. In closing, this class truly made a meaningful impact on how I view our community. In July of 2025, I celebrated my 10-year work anniversary at Freeborn Mauer, and as a part of that milestone, we were given a $200 donation to donate to a local charity. I chose to support the Southwest Middle School Backpack Program. Through this class, I've come to understand just how real and immediate the needs of our students are, whether it's access to food, laundry services, or basic supplies. This experience reinforced for me that even small acts of support can make a significant difference. That's it.
Good morning. For those who do not know me, my name is Megan Wilson, and I am a detective with the Albert Lea Police Department. When given this assignment regarding leadership and reflecting on leadership, it forced me to dig deeper into the meaning of leadership. As a member of law enforcement, I heard the term leadership often, but truly what is leadership? As I looked deeper into leadership, I sought out additional trainings this last year to learn more about leadership and what leadership means to me, and most importantly, shape how I want to be a leader. During this program and the outside courses I attended, I learned that leadership is about relationships, and it has two parts. I'm going to call them inside and outside. Both parts have pieces to them, puzzle pieces. Inside. The inside is your relationships with your people in your initial group or organization. I would argue that this is the more important one. This is the core. True leaders do not simply tell their people to do things, they empower them. They give them encouragement. And space to grow, learn, and develop a sense of self-determination. They have their people set meaningful goals, and then find ways to support their people in achieving those goals. It is not about what you do, but what your people are able to do, because without them and their hard work, a leader can never be successful. In this class, that was one standout thing on the industry day, as we were touring Lou Rich, Select Foods, and Design Ready Controls. The leaders who presented for us and provided tours to us of their organizations gave high praise to their people and acknowledged that only with their people and their people's hard work were they successful, and it made their leadership job easier. As a leader, you need to grow to learn your people. Learn how to empower them, and in turn, they will put the pieces together to make your job as a leader easier. Outside. The people outside of your group, organization, or company. These are other leaders that you form bonds with, that you can call upon for assistance when needed. How you interact and assist other leaders within the community will also help you when you need it. Leadership is knowing who you can call on in particular incidents. Leadership is also taking the time ahead of the incident or problem to form those bonds and relationships with those outside people and organizations. This may involve stepping outside of comfort zones. Through this course, I have learned the importance of knowing who outside of your organization you can call upon and how important they may be to the success of your group or organization. And not only have I learned the importance of this, but this program has allowed me to build those important relationships with those of you classmates from outside organizations. As you empower your people and build those up in your organization, the picture starts to take shape. And when your people and organization has gaps, you have to call upon other leaders and organizations to fill those spaces. And only then is your picture of your leadership complete and the full picture is achieved. This past year, this course has shaped not only a greater understanding of leadership, but also challenged me to look deeper at leadership and the areas of life that it may apply, even outside my original views. It has shown me where true leadership comes from and how it is achieved. I want to thank all those who gave their time over the past year to open their organizations to us and allowed us to see different industries, companies, and groups within our community, and challenged us to become even stronger leaders.
So I'm Cody Sembeck from Cargill here. I like to say I'm the guy that buys the toilet paper for our plant. My definition of leadership is the ability to bring a diverse group of thought to accomplish a shared goal in a way that benefits the most stakeholders. Through this program, I've learned a lot about myself and our community. About myself, I'm not good at talking in front of big groups, of course, but I do like to be involved in our community. This is something I did not do before coming to my current role here in town, and not really before this program either. Kate has pushed a lot to make that happen, and has been very supportive through this whole process. About our community, I've learned that this is not a dying town. I've lived here 3 years now. And you know, you join the Facebook groups when you get here and you see all the bad everyone has to say, but until you meet the people and get involved, you really don't know anything that's going on here. And that's kind of one of the opportunities I see in town, is that we need to be more vocal with those that come around. Because, I mean, well, most of us have grown up and lived here in town, but I do see a few of us that have not. So, just getting everyone involved is very important. The leaders that inspired me are all of us right here. Either those of us in the program who shared our personal experiences to give each other a more broad understanding of our community, or those of you that pushed us to be here, filled in the gaps in our days that we should have been at work, but we got to spend going to either the government center or the seed house or all the various places we went. And then moving forward, I want to continue working on my top 5. Those were ideation, competition, restorative, arranger, and activator, to become the most effective leader I can be. I'll also continue to value the connections made here and hopefully work with each and every one of you in some capacity in the future.
I'm the production recruiter at Cargill, so I'll just go over all the questions that was on the list for presentation. So what does leadership mean to me today? The 3 words that came up to me was commitment, involvement, and time management. Being committed to helping the community grow, and then be involved in the community to grow connections in the community. Time management, being able to time manage, to attend events in the community. So those are the 3 words that came up to me for leadership. And then what have I learned about myself through this experience? Reaching out, search for the opportunity in the community that you're interested in, and then following groups, pages on social media, and then looking at my mailing, because there's a lot of information that comes from mailing that I did not know about, like in the those booklet that gets sent out, it has a lot of events in the community that goes on that I noticed. I started looking at them to learn more about events in the community. Who are the leaders or mentors that inspire me? Be my boss, Sarah, for trusting me to be here at the leadership training every month. And then trusting me to still being able to still do my work while I'm out. And how has this program changed the way I see my community? It has opened up my eyes to see the bigger picture, visiting the different businesses and learning more about them. As a recruiter, I do a lot of interviewing. So, visiting Blue Ridge, Design Ready Controls, Lab Foods, I interview candidates that are from those places, so when they tell me what they do, I can now see and understand it better. And then what opportunities do I see to serve and Leadership Albert Lea, participating in the community and sharing events. I'm very thankful to be in the youth activities group. I learned that there's a lot of youth activities that goes on that I did not know before, so I'm very glad to be in that group and to learn more about the activities that goes on in the community. What leadership goals will I carry? Connections with all the people that I met here, so thank you guys. And how will I apply the lessons and connection I gained? Just reaching out. I know there's a lot of pages on social media that I can look for to find events to join, and then just, building connections with all of you.
Okay, I'm Chastity. I work at the Children's Center.
I did not do that. Ghost up there.
I was voluntold to be here. However, it's been fun. Okay. If you had asked me a year ago what leadership meant, I would probably have said something about how a leader is somebody who makes decisions quickly, has all the answers to all the questions, and has a voice that everybody listens to. I said, but, sorry. I've learned that leadership is often much quieter. It's more listening, asking questions, showing up, and stepping in when it's needed. One of the biggest shifts for me was realizing that leadership doesn't always happen at the front of the room. Sometimes it happens in conversations, it happens through encouragement, collaboration, or simply helping people move toward a goal. Leadership to me now means being willing to contribute, to listen, and stay engaged even when things are difficult. This experience has taught me a few important things. First, growth happens outside of comfort zones, like this. I thought that I needed confidence before stepping forward, but now I understand that confidence follows the actions. Also, collaboration matters. Working with people with different perspectives and skills reminds us that leadership isn't about doing everything alone. This program has given me a deeper appreciation for this community that I've spent my whole life in. It was amazing to see how many people quietly strengthen and build a community every day. I've also gained a better understanding of how interconnected our community actually is and what becomes possible when we all come together. As I continue to move forward in my leadership journey, I plan to lead more intentionally, which includes more confidently speaking up when I have something to contribute, investing more time in certain relationships, and more community involvement. Leadership isn't about having all the answers, leadership is showing up. It's participating, listening, helping others grow, and leading where you are. This program has shown me that strong communities are built by people who care, contribute, and that are involved. Thank you, Peggy, for all that you've done. Our day leaders and everybody else that has helped organize all of this. It's been an amazing experience, and I'm glad that I got to be a part of it, even though it was a big thing that's very much out of my comfort zone. Thank you.
Hello, my name's William Fry. I work at Select Foods. I'm a product manager there. I've been there 18 years. For where I started from, I have to thank Albert Lee, because before I came here, that's before I met my wife, who straightened me out really well. I was kind of going down the wrong path of life. Thought, I just graduated. I didn't have no plan for my future. I thought partying was more important than anything else, which then I moved away from that, moved up here. I met my wife, who says I don't play that stuff, so you straighten up. And so I straightened up. I started working at Winnebago. Shortly after that, they laid off 300 people. Since I was only been there a year, I was one of those people. And then I came here and I started working at Select Foods, which I found my first leader that I really inspired was Dan Gregg. He was the night superintendent. And he took, back then I was extremely shy. I grew up with speech therapy, and so it was hard for me to speak. I was never confident in myself talking to people, but he saw how hard of a worker I was, and he said, "No, we're gonna make you into a line operator." And I was really hesitant, but he pushed me, so I became a line operator. Then he's like, "No, now you're gonna become a supervisor." All right, well, dealing with people I'm not very comfortable with, but he taught me, and I'm really thankful for him for how I am right now. And shortly, Dan Gregg left after I became a supervisor. He went to Amazon to work for there, and then I start looking at Jeff Wood's side as a leader for me. And he took me from being a supervisor to operating night shift, and then he took me from there to do supply chain management, buying toilet paper for Select Foods. And then I went from that to the production manager there. So I really am thankful for them and how they pushed me from being this quiet man to who I am today. So what is leadership? The Chamber Leadership Program has helped me better understand what leadership means in today's world. A leader is someone more than just a title or authority. A leader is someone who's inspire others, communicates effectively, and sets a positive example through their actions. Modern leaders must be adaptable, willing to learn, and focus on building strong relationships with helping their teams achieve common goals. Leadership today is about serving others more than telling them what to do. Creating trust and encouraging growth around you. The program gave me a much deeper understanding of how our community works and how many different organizations contribute to the success. Before participating in this program, I saw many of these businesses and services as separate entities, but it's not. Through the leadership experience, I learned how closely connected we really all are. Through our educational systems to our healthcare providers, manufacturers working together like Select Foods buying equipment from Lou Rich, public services and utilities making sure the business can open up because it has power. Without everyone working together, we wouldn't have the things we have today. Like gas stations, like something simple as a gas station. Well, you get your gas to go to work. You know, it's really, we need everyone together to make this community work well. One of the most valuable lessons I gained from this program was the importance of collaboration and the community involvement. Effective leaders work with other businesses to make informed decisions and work to bring people together. The program demonstrated how leadership extends beyond the workplace and into the community, where individuals can make a positive impact through services, engagement, and commitment to continuous improvement. As a production manager, I intend on carrying these principles to my daily work, fostering teamwork, accountability, and open communication. I want to create an environment where employees feel valued, supported, and motivated to perform the best. I want to work with other businesses to get most out of them and to get the most out of us. By leading with an integrity and encouraging problem solving and investing in the development of my team, I can help improve the productivity and building a positive workplace culture. The Chamber Leadership Program has strengthened my confidence as a leader and provide tools to help me guide my team and contribute to the success of my organization.
I'm actually one, when I got hired, I asked people at my work, I said, I have to get connected quickly. And they said, there's this awesome thing they do here called leadership. And I said, sign me up, okay? Somehow they delayed that and I missed that first meeting. So like I felt all bummed coming in on the second meeting. But so even before I took my first day of my job, July 1, I was already like trying to figure out how to get into leadership. So obviously my job as superintendent of public schools means I have to be very connected. Even when I was a principal, it's the same deal. You have to be connected. And not just to the parents, you have to be connected to the community. So it's kind of natural for me to try to get connected. I was just so happy Albert Lea had this. And I'm not originally from Albert Lea. I'm from Rochester, so, but I was in Albert Lea growing up as a kid all the time for athletics and sports and stuff like that. And when I moved here, my realtor looked at me and he said, what year did you graduate? I said, 96. Did you win your first football game or lose your first football game? I said, we didn't play you in the first football game, but I'll let you know we beat Albert Lea in homecoming and then beat them to continue on to state. And he looked at me and goes, you're a rocket. So, anyway, Actually, Officer Khan, I was pounding on him too, because I was defensive tackle and he was a running back, so I know I tackled him a few times today. He's a 96 grad too, so. It's funny how your connections come. And I think that's something that I heard from everybody. So, like for me, leadership is knowing where we're headed and helping others succeed along the way. The best outcomes come from building those relationships, fostering collaboration, and creating conditions for people to be their best. So you'll see I put servant. If you go back and see my interviews, I talk about servant leadership. I don't just serve the school district, I serve the community. So it's a different mindset when I think about myself and leadership in a community. Collaborative, impact focused, visionary, and supportive. So when we provide direction, we remove obstacles and support those around us, we can achieve the goals that are bigger than any one of us can achieve. And we know that, and that's what this helped us do. And so it's exciting to be around a group of people and to have others that I can count on. But I can tell you this, when you walk around town, if you let people know you were part of leadership, you're gonna find out when your board members did it in 2009. You're gonna find out your realtor was in leadership way back when, and that's how he met his wife, and they started dating after leadership and got married. So there's all these things that happen, right? And then she happens to be another board member of mine. You're gonna find out really how interconnected. And I know Bart understands this probably at the same level I do of really how interconnected our community is, and then that actually expands out to the county. And even though people hate Austin, we're still interconnected. So it works that way. My experience, it was a great introduction to Albert Lea. This program really helps everyday citizens interact in a meaningful way to what I would say see Albert Lea. So we're really seeing how interconnected the community is and could be. And so we did education, we did multiple businesses, we went to the medical facility, and then they didn't even talk about the all things medical facility that's trying to come up. So there's an alternative to that. And we did go talk to some alternative medicine in town too. So, but they didn't talk about how connected they are. But we talked about city and county, agriculture, and we talked a little bit about service to the community. So what service groups are out there, how do we do that? We went to the why, but we didn't talk about all the other different service groups that are out there, Rotarians, Lions, all the different groups, and there's a ton that you could go with. But so in reality, we're not just meeting people, right? And we're not just getting to know our community. It's about making this a better place to live and work and play. And that's the piece that people forget about Albert Lea, right? So when I moved here, people were like, oh, you're moving to Albert Lea. Huh, the school district's declining a little bit. It is, but only because people are having less kids.
That's right.
Right? But people are moving here, it's hard to buy a house. So that tells you two different stories, right? But it's also about seeing this program for me, and I've talked about this in many different school districts that I've worked in, is about seeing solutions over seeing problems. And we're gonna have fun with Pink Bat here in a minute. But in my career, I've been lucky enough to have tons of mentors. And I actually pick stuff from all of you. That's the kind of person I am. I try to get to know you a little bit, see like that, learn a little something from you. Okay, I know you're good at that, so if ever I need to reach out, I can reach out to this person or that person or this. Because in my line of work, educating the entire community, because people think about I'm just K-12. Well, I've got preschool, I've got daycare, I've got adult ed, I've got English language, I've got all the way, when you talk community ed, we go from pre-birth all the way almost to death. I mean, I hate to say it that way. And I help educate and do activities for everything in between. So it's just a huge part of the job. But the ultimate point that happens is, how do we motivate people to not look at things as a problem, and how do we motivate them to start to see them as a solution? So I used to read a lot more, but I found this one little book, and then I found they had this little video on there, and it's called Pink Bat. Does everybody remember those little pink bats we played with as kids? Well, some of us at least. This is really, I wanted to get some kind of inspiring.
90 seconds for this NASA-engineered AC.
So I wanted to try to get us something a little inspiring to kind of leave with, and also a piece that I think, if you can remember Pink Bat, that you can use with your groups to say, let's look for solutions, let's not look at the problems.
Cool down your room. It's smaller than a toaster, cools any room
See if
in
we can
90
get it to
seconds,
skip.
and uses just a fraction of the energy of a regular AC.
Pink Bat is inspired by a childhood experience I had involving a plastic baseball bat. Rather than tell you the story and how this bat changed reality, let me share a little bit of the thinking that went into this book. In short, Pink Bat is about turning problems into solutions. While it's an entertaining story, its message has actually been called inspiring and powerful, even life-changing, by educators, business leaders, and others who have read it. Now, turning problems into solutions may seem illogical at first, but once you read Pink Bat, you're going to start seeing things a little bit differently. In fact, you'll quickly discover many of the things that people call problems aren't problems at all. Most are opportunities, and some are actually unseen solutions, just waiting for you to connect the dots. Does this all seem impossible? Well, Pink Bat reminds us that finding solutions is actually in our DNA. It's how we've survived and developed all these years. You know what many people today consider impossible? It really isn't that way at all. You could say Pink Bat thinking makes the impossible possible. You've all heard the story, I'm sure, about how Isaac Newton was beaten in the head with an apple, right? Who knows if it really happened or not? But we've heard the story. No doubt most people would have viewed this incident as a problem. But Newton didn't see it that way. He applied Pink Bat thinking. If the force of gravity affects falling fruit, perhaps it also affects the orbits and the planets too. He turned a problem into a solution called the universal law of gravitation. Back in 1928, most scientists would have considered it a problem to return from a vacation and find a petri dish contaminated with mold. Alexander Fleming didn't. He didn't view it as a problem at all. In fact, he applied Pink Bat thinking, and it led to the discovery of penicillin. Are you starting to see how this whole thing works now? So why do some people see solutions that other people miss? Well, while we all share the same world, we certainly don't share the same reality. You see, our five senses collect far more input than we can ever process. And to prevent sensory overload, our brain filter edits it. It's this process that establishes our perception of reality. In other words, our reality is a filtered version of reality itself. Our brain filters through volumes of random data, moment by moment, selecting and rejecting evidence to support our beliefs. Subconsciously, we select the pieces that fit our brain's perceived puzzle and reject those that don't. Wow, that's a double whammy. When we label something as a problem, it becomes one. You know, many unseen solutions are simply mislabeled problems. Before we can see something as a solution, we need to stop seeing it as a problem. Now, there's a phenomenon psychologists call perceptual blindness, or sometimes inattentional blindness. In one study, Professor Daniel Simons asked volunteers to watch a short video. In this video, there's two groups of people. One's wearing black shirts and the other's wearing white. They're passing a basketball around. The subjects were told to count the number of passes made by the team wearing white. At some point, a person wearing a gorilla suit appears during the video. Now imagine this. Here all of a sudden this guy in a gorilla outfit appears for several seconds. When the video ends, researchers asked, hey, did anyone see anything unusual? The results were absolutely amazing. Half the volunteers reported seeing nothing unusual. Now how can this even be? How can 50% of the people miss a gorilla in the room? Mostly because they weren't looking for it. They were totally focused on something else. Simply put, when we focus on one thing, we miss another. Politicians and magicians have known about this phenomenon for years. It also explains why outsiders often see solutions that experienced insiders miss. They don't share the same bias. Children are notorious for pointing out what we adults have stopped seeing long ago, or maybe we overlooked from the very start. Initially, these shapes may appear meaningless, but that's because most people focus on the black shapes and ignore the white spaces in between. When you actually focus on the white shapes, the black shapes become less important, and suddenly solutions appear. Keep in mind, the image actually stays the same, right? It's our perception that changes. Turning problems into solutions works much the same way. It's a matter of adjusting our perception, suspending our judgment, and then remaining open-minded to all the real possibilities that exist. In writing this book, I was absolutely amazed at the seemingly endless number of historic pink bat examples I uncovered. It's funny, most solutions seem so obvious after the fact, right? It's like that old saying goes, hindsight's 20/20. Well, while it's fun looking back, I didn't write pink bats for historical documentation so much as to help you find today's solutions and create a brighter future for yourself and those around you. We can live each day in a world filled with problems. Or we can rise each morning and embrace a world filled with unseen solutions. That decision's yours. Both worlds exist. The one you choose to focus on is the world you will create. Once you grasp this reality, you realize unseen solutions are everywhere. In fact, maybe you're seeing a pink bat right now.
So that's what kind of summed up this class to me. All of us getting connected, but then as this community needs to take the step forward, it's going to take all the generations or all the years of all the leadership training for us to get together to say, is this a problem, or where should we find our solution? So anyway, I truly enjoyed my time with you. I'm looking forward to getting to know you even better. So like, don't just assume, like, if you're around, see me, say something to me, right? I'll look for you too. If you're ever curious about something, school system or anything like that, call, let me know. I'm good to meet for lunch or whatever too. So, but this really, if we all take the next step with what we've learned here, and maybe this is 2.0, I don't know. If we can all start to take the next step, we can truly make this the place to be in the world. So, anyway.
My name is Tad Bear. I work for Mayo Clinic Health System, mostly locally here in Albert Lea, but I also get around to all the other southeastern sites. Just recently, we had a patient come into the ED, I want to say 3.5, maybe 4 weeks ago, completely intoxicated. After getting them sent off to the proper detox center, a week passed, and we reflected back on that patient because his story was that he was so drunk he was seeing things. He was hallucinating. He saw a bear. And after that we realized, oh, maybe he wasn't hallucinating. And he was just one of the very first early sightings of a bear. I am also a victim of voluntoldism, and if that's not a word, it really should be. this is definitely out of my comfort zone, but I believe that leadership really is getting out of your comfort zone and expanding on your learning and moving forward, because you absolutely need to do that in order to grow. And leadership can also be defined by guiding and inspiring others through rapid change and uncertainty. In my chosen profession, the change is very constant and very rapid, especially when it concerns our community. Everyone here is very aware of the struggle going on to keep as many local healthcare services alive in our community as we can. Healthcare in the nation is a struggle. We're not immune to it in the Midwest. Leadership and the part that I can play in that role is working within my position to encourage my own leaders to continue to fund and support the local system as much as possible, and to encourage and recruit local talent to work here instead of traveling elsewhere for jobs. Because it's not just about keeping the tax base, it's about keeping them involved with their friends and neighbors. What I've learned about myself through this experience, I've learned that there is much more to living in a community such as Albert Lea than just paying taxes. I developed a newfound appreciation for not just clicking the buy online button, the easy button, as my wife calls it, but instead going out into the locally owned shops and businesses and supporting them as much as possible. A couple examples of that are, we recently placed an order at Travco for t-shirts for my son's baseball team, instead of just going on Amazon or whatever and ordering it through some giant business. And Conger Meat has recently become one of our favorites with the warmer weather. I've learned to step out of my own comfort zone and get out into the community and experience firsthand what voluntary civic responsibility is. That refers to the unmandated actions, attitudes, and community contributions citizens choose to perform to promote the common good and strengthen society. While mandatory civic duties require legal compliance, voluntary participation cultivates social well-being, civic virtue, and community connection. I recently also attended the Albert Lea Police Department Citizens Academy, due in part to speaking to Luke, Detective Luke. That was great. I would highly encourage anybody here to also attend that one. It's much shorter. It's not months and months long, but it's more condensed, and it really is a good learning, and it gets you out to see what else goes on in the community. Coincidentally, I also received my very first jury duty notice at the same time. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but it happened the same week. Leaders and mentors that inspire me. I've had lots and lots of different leaders and mentors throughout my career in different locations, but my primary local mentor is Joy Shaft. She's the manager of the emergency department here in town and has dedicated her career to this local community. She started her career locally at one of the nursing homes before moving into the hospital's maternity ward, eventually becoming the manager. When that department moved to Austin, she chose to stay put here in Albert Lea, taking over as manager of the emergency department and pouring all of her energy into making sure this community has a safe place to go when there's a medical or behavioral emergency. It is through a huge effort of hers that Mayo has decided to invest millions of dollars into renovating large sections of our facility, including not only the emergency department, but also in expanding the dialysis and therapy departments. I have worked at a few smaller and larger facilities in the past 25 years throughout the southern half of the state. Everything from small two-room emergency departments to a large level 1 trauma centers. But I've always lived here while driving to them. It is only in the past 5 years that I have decided to return to the local job scene and quit driving all over the state. Part of that was my son is now old enough to go to school, and I really wanted to be around in town while he was living there, just so I could attend his things. Working with Joy and taking care of my friends and neighbors has shown me the importance of fighting to maintain a strong local healthcare presence in our community. How has this program changed the way I see my community? This program has really opened up my eyes to the diversity in workplaces and workforces that we have here. Beyond the group activities and brainstorming sessions, I have appreciated the tours and site visits the most. I think my favorite was actually returning to Southwest Junior High, which I don't think I've been in since 35 years ago when I was a student there. And it's just, the memories were shocking. And I kind of wish I would have gone back there sooner instead of waiting 35 years, but just, yeah, walking down those halls was amazing. And then visiting the high school, just seeing the growth that's gone on, trying to remember the old high school and compare the two, and it's amazing the opportunities that kids nowadays have. I hate to try to age myself, but growing up, you know, the technology that they have available to them in the classrooms is just mind-boggling. Walking around all the different locations and getting a behind-the-scenes look is much, much better than any TV documentary. You can watch an episode of a behind-the-scenes of a meat plant, but actually going there, putting on the gear and walking around, feeling the temperature drop and hearing the noises, getting out of the way of the forklift is much, much better. What opportunities do I see to serve and strengthen Albert Lea-Freeborn County? While local politics, school boards, and other things like those are great methods of giving back to the community, I feel like my highest return on investment will be to continue to work within the local healthcare administration to maintain and expand on the services that we offer to the community. Leadership goals that I will carry forward into my career, volunteer work, and personal life. My primary leadership goal that I plan on continuing forward will be to always encourage younger, newer staff members to not stop improving yourself. Years ago, I had a leader at work take me aside and encourage me to pursue an advanced degree and attend grad school. At the time, it was the furthest thing from my mind. I had a new baby at home. I finally worked my way onto a straight day shift. I had a regular schedule. I thought I had it made. I said, why would I want to go back to school, take on more student loan debt, hours of classrooms and clinicals, when I was comfortable where I was at? But after getting through school, COVID, and all the other challenges, I could not thank her enough for pushing me. I have had a much more personally rewarding career by doing what I'm doing now than if I would have just continued on. So part of our responsibilities in taking this leadership class is to encourage the next generation to apply for this. Don't let them be told that you have to do it, but tell them that it actually is fun. You can learn a lot about yourselves. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. How will I apply these lessons and connections I've gained through this program? The best way that I can think of to apply the lessons I've learned through this program is to proactively integrate everything I've learned into my daily routines and nurture the relationships I've made in this class and the community. Thank you.